are you? Love and peace. This is Ray. I want to talk briefly about sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. Why sense of urgency? Let's talk about the sense of urgency when you're out of the flow. What's going to happen is there are going to be times where you're going to experience, whether it's long-term, whether it's short-term, or briefly, you're going to have a moment of being out of the flow. You will know the signs of being out of the flow because I'm going to give you the signs of being out of the flow. But most of us already know them. Any form of resistance, any feeling within your gut, within the pit of your stomach, where you feel stress, where you feel worry, where you feel anxiety, and if a lot of times too, your mind, you start overthinking things. You notice that your mind keeps thinking about things that just like are stressing you out. It could be maybe you fear losing your job. It could be how you're gonna pay for your next bill. It could be stressing about some argument you had with your fiance, your kid. It doesn't matter. Those are some of the signs. Those are some of the things, and we know that we feel these all the time. They feel natural to us, but they're not natural. Okay, because they're resistance, stress, anything like within the resistance, family, stress, doubt, worry, fear. That's all negative vibration, which again keeps us from the flow. The longer you stay away from the flow, it's, what happens is the more you linger within the resistance of stagnant energy, of negative low vibration energy, the more you're gonna start to bring that to you. You're gonna attract that to you. So that's why a sense of urgency, whenever you're going through some situations, circumstance or event that is creating this negative, stagnant, lower vibration, you gotta try to train your mind to recognize, okay, through repetition, synchronicity, to a lot of the tools that we've talked about in my recordings here. You gotta learn to train your mind to recognize when you're in that stuck or stagnant energy. Okay, you have to. A lot of us, you know what we do? This is what we do. We sit there and we feel it. And then we sit there, we drive home, or we're by ourselves, or we're washing dishes or something, or we're watching a TV show or whatnot, or we like, you know, just kind of like let our minds go into the distance, and we start, you know, thinking about stuff that we start thinking about it, and we start letting our minds run rampant. That monkey chatter kicks in, the doubts, the fears, and it keeps building, adding. And then you may go throughout. That may happen to you for a few minutes. It may happen to you, continue to happen to you for a couple of hours, a couple of days. We don't want a couple of minutes. We don't want a couple of days. We don't want a few hours. We want to stop it right away. This is why I say a sense of urgency to stop it. We have to have that sense of urgency, that awareness, that as soon as we feel we're like that, to have the knowing and the understanding, and most importantly, to make a decision not to be like that, because the more that we're in that place, and a lot of us, we think, oh, you know, I'm just gonna be here. I like to feel it sometimes. I like to know, you know, I like to let my mind wander, you know. I don't let it affect me. I don't let the negativity affect me. Yeah, right. You're kidding yourself. That's like the same mindset of the person who used to drink. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, but I won't drink. Or the person that used to take drugs and they just got out of, you know, it was like 60 days they just got out of taking drugs, and they're no longer taking drugs, and they're trying to quit, and they've been clean for 60 days, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go and hang out with my friends, the ones that you know they're gonna get you in trouble. you just can't play that game. You're playing with fire. You're playing with fire, okay? Because in reality, if we were able and capable of withstanding those types of attacks, the negativity, the being around people and circumstance situations that wouldn't affect us, if that was the case, and it wouldn't affect us and long term, remember, this stuff is like, it gets, the negative energy doesn't attack you full force. That's why if it did, you'd be able to do that. You'd be able to divert it and like, oh, nothing. But because it's so, it attacks you at such a small level, and it's such like a snake, that by the time you realize it, it could take days, it could take months, it could take weeks. By the time you realize it, you're like, you know, the guy that used to drink once in a blue moon now is the drunk. The guy that used to take 1 or 2 drugs, a little bit here and there on a party on a weekend, now is high, constantly high on drugs, and they have to fight it because, you know, they're totally, you know, have lost control and they're slaves to it, you know. The one person that only used to party on certain days, now it's partying all the time. There are things that we have to be aware of, and that is that we have to be vigilant about where we put ourselves, and take responsibility for where we put ourselves, and then to understand and know that if you're dealing, everything that's happening to us is vibration, so you can't see it. It's hard for us to protect ourselves against a negative thing that you can't see, and it's going to affect you bit by bit, little by little, and you won't even know it. So that's why you got to be cautious. So the best thing to do is just to avoid, to learn how to see those things, to understand how energy works, and avoid those situations. And so let's go back to what I was saying before, a sense of urgency. When as soon as you feel, let's say you get into an argument with your with your boss or something like that, and you know, maybe it was his fault, maybe it's squashed. Maybe you proved your point, maybe it's squashed, you don't have to really worry about it. But if you have that mind of yours chatting like, oh no, you know, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, and you keep feeding that fear, that thought, what happened, let it go. That's where you have to have that sense of urgency, where you're like, no, I gotta stop thinking like that right away. I gotta find a way to do something to raise my vibration, to let this thing go. And some of the things you can do is do things that make you happy. Surround yourself with people that are positive, like-minded. You know, raise your vibration. Go help people. That's a fast way of raising your vibration. Go do positive things for people that really need help. Go do the work. Like if I'm feeling a certain way, I just start my recordings. I start trying to help someone. I'll go into my meditation. I do the special detached meditation that I spoke of briefly in some of my recordings that the universe had taught me. And what that does is it basically puts me in a state of unwanting or detached from anything or anyone. And so I'm not worried about anything. And so what that does for me is that it allows me to connect in the spiritual sense. And when you connect in the spiritual sense to the higher self, you have that clarity in that, what we call the knowing, where you know that there is no point of worrying about this or worrying about that, or am I going to have this or am I going to have that, because you already have it. And so when you're in the spirit, it's like that spiritual consciousness. No, it's like there's nothing to worry about. I don't desire anything. I'm not separate from anything. I'm not alone. I'm not, you know what I mean? Because it's part of everything. It's part of one. It knows this information. So that's a great way to help me. And then when I come back to the physical after my meditation, then I'm more at peace and more relaxed and all that stuff. I'm not holding on to anything. And it's kind of like, it's like refreshing my mind from, you know, rebooting my mind to let go of that negative and coming back with a sense of peace and harmony, and just absolute letting go and allowing. So, sense of urgency. This is what I wanted to put out there. I just want to do a quick recording. Again, if you have any questions about this, please, don't feel free to send me an email or ask a question on the channel. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, or even 2 thumbs up, because we all have 2 thumbs. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. You can also, again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share my channel with your friends. If you find it of value to you, you think that it would be of value to them, I appreciate that. As always, this is Ray. Love and peace.